Hello Leo, welcome to your 2024 overview horoscope. In this video, I'll be going over a bunch of the big transits happening for you in 2024. I'll be explaining what to expect, as well as giving some do's and don'ts for each part of the year. 2024 main events include Pluto's back and forth from Aquarius to Capricorn back into Aquarius, with the final ingress into Aquarius at the end of the year. Also, Jupiter will conjoin Uranus in Taurus before it ingresses into Gemini. That's Jupiter ingressing into Gemini for the next 12 months. And this will bring some luck and expansion into new house topics for us, our Gemini house topics. And it will also square Saturn in Pisces when it enters Gemini also. And then I will discuss spring and fall eclipse season as well. As a reminder, I recommend you look at your rising sign, but sometimes people find value in looking at their sun or moon signs. Astrology is a form of divination after all. So let's just hop right into it. Pluto enters Aquarius on January 20th, 2024, and this is part 2. Pluto will be entering your 7th house, and you're going to be getting ready for some more deep changes in your one-on-one relationships and interactions. Again, this happened for the first time at the end of March 2023. If you want to look back at your calendar, your emails, your journal, something to see what was going on at the end of March 2023, and you'll get an idea of what to expect at the end of January 2024. This is part 2 of the journey. So here's what to keep an eye out for in January and February. Relationship transformations. Significant shifts on how you're connecting with partners, friends, clients. Relationships may deepen or change in unexpected ways. New relationship dynamics are possible. If you are in a committed partnership, expect some big changes in how you both interact and understand each other. Revamping business partnerships is possible. If you have business partners or clients, these relationships might undergo some sort of shift or serious overhaul, leading to more effective collaboration. And for those of you who are married or in long-term relationships, this phase could bring profound changes, either strengthening bonds or bringing underlying issues to the surface. So here are my recommended do's and don'ts for the beginning of the year, for this time of the year. I do recommend you initiate partnership commitments. It's a good time to enter any significant commitments like getting married, starting a business, a partnership, formalizing other kinds of long-term relationships is a do for Pluto entering your 7th house. The don'ts are, do not ignore red flags at the beginning of the year. If issues are coming up, don't brush them under the rug, address them head on. This is the time to do it. Be cautious of partners or people who are exhibiting controlling tendencies once Pluto enters your 7th house. At the same time, also avoid engaging in controlling behavior yourself. And this brings us to spring eclipse season part 1. Eclipse season brings major endings, major beginnings, and major shifts in how you are connecting with your immediate environment, your immediate world, and how you explore broader horizons. So the first eclipse is a lunar eclipse on March 25th at 5 degrees Libra, which will be in your 3rd whole sign house. And this rules over your immediate world. So changes in friendships is possible. You might see shifts in your circle of friends or how you connect with friends. Rethinking commute and rethinking travel is possible with this eclipse. Expect changes or new approaches to your daily commute or to your short travels and your short trips via car. Also, you can expect new learning in your everyday life. You could pick up new skills or new knowledge that directly impacts your daily routines on some level. You can also expect tech upgrades or communication upgrades in general. It's a great eclipse for upgrading technology or just finding new ways to communicate. Even, that could be a different language, that could be coding, that could be astrology as a language, or upgrading technology, getting a new phone, getting a new computer, etc. The solar eclipse, so then we have 2 weeks of wonkiness in between March 25th and April 8th, which is when the next eclipse is happening. Total solar eclipse at 19 degrees Aries in your 9th whole sign house, which is the house of broadening your horizons, opening your mind. So worldview expansion coming with this eclipse. Your beliefs and your perspectives are undergoing some sort of upgrade. New educational pursuits also are supported with this eclipse. It's a good time to start a new course or explore just different educational opportunities in general. This is also a good eclipse for traveling or exploring in general, planning and embarking on some sort of long distant trip that will open up new worlds to you is possible with this eclipse. And spiritual and philosophical insights are coming in more, like deepening your understanding of these things: religion, spirituality, philosophy. At the same time, Mars will be conjoining Saturn in your 8th house. So this brings some struggle. This brings a little bit of challenge, which is unfortunate because eclipse season is already a challenge, just because it's wonky in general. It just feels weird. And Mars will be conjoining Saturn. So there could be some sort of if you're in a partnership, there could be an issue with your partner's life in the spring that you are helping them through. Or if not, you could also be dealing with working through significant anxieties, maybe related to money, but generally related to just emotional baggage and like trauma from when we were younger. And the 8th house has like anxiety, that when you just wake up with anxiety, that's like eighth house vibes. And you don't know where the anxiety is coming from. And then you have to either figure out where it's coming from so that you can deal with the root of it, or come up with tools to then handle that anxiety. That's kind of 8th house vibes. So at the same time, you may be dealing with that. My recommended do's and don'ts for springtime with this eclipse season: I do recommend you do any type of learning or traveling, whether it's a new skill, whether it's just going somewhere new, or engaging in a different way of thinking. Be open to what you can learn. Embrace new learning opportunities in the springtime. I recommend you do not be alarmed by any changing plans in the springtime during eclipse season. Eclipse season is all about endings and beginnings. So if plans, especially regarding travel, education, or any other major projects, need to be adjusted or completely revamped, don't be too surprised. It's all about the process of growth and change with the eclipse season. So eclipse season overall will be happening in your 3rd and 9th houses in the springtime. And this is having you adapt to changes in your everyday interactions while also embracing growth in your broader understanding of the world and of life. It's a blend of local learning and global exploration type vibes for eclipse season. So this moves us to the end-ish of April, a couple weeks later on April 20th, which is the start of Taurus season. This is also when Jupiter conjoins Uranus at 21 degrees Taurus. And Jupiter will be conjoining Uranus in your 10th house, which signals a time of significant and often unexpected changes in your career and your public life. So you can look forward to career breakthroughs around the end of April, or middle of April, experiencing sudden advancements or opportunities in your career that come out of nowhere, possibly. Thank you, Uranus. Reputation surprises are possible, so be prepared for any unexpected shifts in how others see you, and the roles you are known for taking on in life. Maybe there's a new public image or new image you're taking on, or you get sudden recognition for a role you take on. And by extension, new professional roles are possible. So you might find yourself taking on roles or responsibilities that are different from what you usually do, possibly even in a new field. And innovative ideas in the workplace is also a possibility here. So it's a great time for innovative thinking at work. Your ideas could gain a lot more traction at the end of April and quickly, unexpectedly. And also the 10th house rules authority. So authority figure dynamics could be coming up at the end of April. Your relationships with bosses or other authority figures could change in surprising ways. Besides your boss, other authority figures include your parents or policemen, that sort of thing. So my recommended do's and don'ts for the end of April: I do recommend you boost your visibility, take advantage of the time to increase being seen, whether that is through social media, post something on social media, networking at your job, or just public speaking even. It's a great period for getting your name and your ideas out there. I also recommend you do pitch new ideas at work. around April 20th. If you have innovative ideas or innovative projects, now is the time to pitch them. Your creativity and your unique approaches are much more likely to be well received with this conjunction in your 10th house. I also recommend you explore new job opportunities. Keep an eye out for exciting new opportunities that might arise. This could be the perfect time to make any significant career move. What I don't recommend you do is shy away from the spotlight. Don't hold back from stepping into any type of limelight around April 20th. Your public image can receive a significant boost, so don't hide and don't ignore new opportunities either. Be cautious about letting any skepticism or fear of change keep you from embracing any new career opportunities that are coming your way. So overall, with Jupiter conjoining Uranus in your 10th house, this is an excellent time for career advancement and taking bold steps in your professional life. Embrace the changes in April. Don't be afraid to put yourself and your ideas forward. This is your month to shine and make significant strides in your career. So the next thing, May 25th, a month later, Jupiter leaves Taurus and enters Gemini, and it immediately trines Pluto as well. So Jupiter will be entering your 11th house and form a trine with Pluto in your 7th house. And this is bringing a positive phase in terms of social connections and your relationships. So let's talk about specifics. Enhanced social connections are happening with this transit. And so also Jupiter will be in your 11th house for the next 12 months from May 2024 to May 2025-ish. So we get to embrace this for the next 12 months. Expect to strengthen ties within your community and within your social sphere. New allies, new friends could emerge, probably bringing beneficial opportunities also with Jupiter. You can expect positive shifts in your relationships. A trine is very yummy. One-on-one interactions, whether it's romantic or business or clients, platonic even. These relationships could be deeper or get deep, could likely deepen and become even more meaningful on some level. You can also expect collaborative opportunities. It's a great time for teamwork and collaborations, especially in professional settings or with community projects or activism. This is also a time where your influence within the social sphere will grow. So this could bring even more opportunities for leadership or social media growth even. Your social influence expands with Jupiter in your 11th house. And again, strengthening bonds with your partners. If you're in a relationship, if you're married, this is a period that could bring a renewed sense of partnership and understanding for y'all. So here are my recommendations for the do's and don'ts for the next 12 months with Jupiter here. I do recommend you explore new social groups at the end of May. Look for opportunities to join clubs, organizations, or online communities that align with your interests or career. I recommend you join our 9th house Discord server if you haven't already. I also recommend you do reach out to potential mentors. This is a great time to connect with people who can offer guidance or mentorship to you, especially in whatever areas you're passionate about. Jupiter in the 11th. I recommend for the don'ts. Don't overlook existing bonds that already exist. While you're making all these new connections, don't forget to maintain the relationships that you already have with your close friends and partners. We don't want to leave them all in the dust. And I also recommend you don't ignore partnership red flags. So if you are experiencing new partnerships, new collaborations, be mindful of any red flags or issues that might come up. Make sure that these relationships are healthy and beneficial. There is the trine from Pluto, so it is a nice aspect, but Pluto still brings some fuckery in relationships. So do not ignore red flags, especially if they're related to someone who is controlling or really insecure. So overall, with Jupiter in your 11th house, trining Pluto in your 7th house, this is a really good time for expanding your social circles and deepening your personal relationships. You can leverage the next 12 months to build connections that can help you grow, and you can find opportunities through them also. And this moves us to Mars squaring Saturn, August 15th. So Mars will be in your 11th house, squaring Saturn in your 8th house. And this is one of the more challenging aspects of the year, challenging times. We're going to have a little bit of a rough summer with Mars squaring Saturn. And this will bring tension for you between your social life and possibly deeper issues or financial issues. So what does that mean tangibly? You might face some sort of obstacles when trying to expand your social circle or take on new roles within groups and communities. This is kind of the vibe where I'm telling you to try new things, meet new people, put yourself out there. And then Mars and Saturn are squaring, which kind of reins you in and brings some obstacles that you are supposed to get over while you are doing this, which is just life. Most paths are not straightforward, right? Most of the time, there are some curves or turns or obstacles that you have to get through in life. And Mars squaring Saturn is just an example of that. It's not like some big scary thing, but it could bring some issues or some blockages. So while I am telling you to do all of these new things, do know that you will still face some obstacles while doing them. That doesn't mean you're not supported. It means you're being sculpted into doing them perfectly or with the right foundation or the way Mars and Saturn want you to. So frustrations in social goals could be possible. Also, budget or financial issues could hinder your ability to participate in social events around summertime or contribute to group activities, like financial constraints that impact social plans. Also, balancing financial responsibilities with social commitments might become stressful, even if it's not financial constraints. It could just be a source of stress. So the recommended do's and don'ts for August. I do recommend you are patient with any social endeavors you're working on. Understand that progress in group activities or building networks might be slower than you'd like. I also recommend you do plan financially with any social commitments. So budget carefully for any social activities or group stuff that you're doing to avoid financial strain. This is kind of the energy of you might be invited in to be in someone's wedding and you can't afford the dress. And here are some don'ts. I recommend you do not overextend yourself financially. So avoid committing more money than you can comfortably afford in any social or community context specifically. Also, I recommend you do not force any social connections or force them for financial gain. So be cautious about pushing too hard to leverage any type of social relationship for financial benefits. The Mars-Saturn square calls for a careful balancing act between social goals and your deeper personal or financial responsibilities. So by being patient and planning carefully in August and maintaining authenticity in your relationships, you'll be able to navigate the square like it's a piece of cake. What's interesting is that Jupiter is squaring Saturn at the same time. So we have Jupiter and Mars essentially conjoining while they square Saturn. And this is the first time Jupiter will square Saturn. It will square it again in December. So this is Act 1. It exacts on August 19th, so around the same time. And this kind of softens that square that I was discussing. That social versus financial tension will be there, but you'll have a bit more support, or it'll feel a bit more inflamed with Jupiter there in making Mars bigger, expanding Mars's energy. You might, with Jupiter here, you could deep dive into more personal issues also in August. The struggle of Mars squaring Saturn might push you to heal in some ways you weren't expecting. If while you're getting more involved in group activities, deeper personal or emotional issues might demand some attention to heal. The 8th house brings it out to heal it, ideally. Expanding your network will be super great at this time, but be mindful, again, of mixing friendship and finances. So make sure you are setting clear financial boundaries in August and focusing on healthy connections. And don't be overspending in any social situations, and don't neglect your emotional health in August. So this moves us to September. Pluto will retrograde back into Capricorn on September 1st, and Pluto will be re-entering your 6th house for the final 2 months after a lengthy stay in Capricorn since 2008. So it will be all about wrapping up and solidifying any deep transformations within your daily routines, your work life, or your health. Given Pluto's long-term transit here, you can expect more of a culmination in September rather than new beginnings. So here's what to look out for in September. Workplace transformations starting to settle in. Any major changes at work, whether a new role or new relationships with coworkers, are now going to become the new normal. You can expect your routine to be refined a bit more in September. Your daily routines are finally going to be settling into a more sustainable and efficient pattern. And any long-term health regimens or changes you've adopted are going to become more deeply integrated in your lifestyle. And the way that you approach tasks, service, or dealing with obligations will be reaching some sort of final evolution. And any long-standing issues with opponents, enemies, challenging people in your work life will be coming to a head with resolutions on the horizon. So Pluto will only be here for 2 months, and you're already very used to Pluto being here. So that, like I said, it'll be more of a culmination than something new. And here are my recommended do's and don'ts for this time of year. I do recommend you embrace your new routine, fully commit to any new patterns that you are establishing. They're likely to be a lot more aligned with your true self by this point. I also recommend you do continue with the health and wellness habits that you've developed. Maintain your health routines. I also recommend getting a new pet. The 6th house rules pets. So if you've been considering it for a while and you want one, now's a good time. And here are my don'ts. I recommend you do not ignore any final workplace adjustments that are happening in September. Don't overlook the importance of any last-minute changes with this. We want to make sure that we finalize it and move forward with a nice little bow tied. So as you navigate these final 2 months of Pluto in your 6th house, it's about reinforcing and living out the changes that you've worked on with your daily routine over the past since 2008. This is a 2 months to solidify your growth and fully step into the improved daily life and health practices that you've been establishing since then. And this moves us into eclipse season, fall eclipse season, part 2. So eclipse season will be bringing big shifts in areas related to finances and your immediate environment again. So let's break it down. The first eclipse is September 17th at 25 degrees Pisces, which is in your 8th whole sign house. And this is the first eclipse in this house that will set off the rest of the eclipses on this axis. So this September 17th eclipse will be a taste of the endings and beginnings with these house topics. So this is a taste of what's to come for 2025, essentially. Financial overhauls, changes in how you handle debts, loans, inheritances, trusts, any type of shared resource. It will be a time to get those finances in order. Also, there is some sort of emotional clearing that will be coming out with this Pisces eclipse, confronting and working through deep-seated emotional issues and past traumas. Relationship dynamics also change. If you have a partner, changes in your partner's financial situation could be coming up. And it's a good eclipse for diving deeper into therapy or exploring new ways to manage anxiety and mental well-being. And then we have 2 weeks of wonky eclipse season until October 2nd, which is when we have our next eclipse, a solar eclipse at 10 degrees Libra in your 3rd whole sign house. And this is the final eclipse, I believe, or one of the final eclipses, if not the final eclipse, in this house. So it'll be more about wrapping things up rather than seeing newness. Maybe it's more of a benchmark moment in these transformations. So we will have rethinking your daily interactions, changing how you communicate or who you communicate with. that is close to you, like your friends or your siblings. Different relationship, things changing in your relationship with them. Commute and travel adjustments again. So daily travel, your daily commute might see some changes. Maybe it's time for a new route to work or a new mode of transportation or a new grocery store you try. Picking up a new skill or new knowledge that directly impacts your daily life is also possible with education and learning. And it is also an eclipse for upgrading gadgets or finding new ways to stay connected, tech and communication updates. So major endings, major beginnings happening there, mostly in the background, not too in your face for y'all at this point. So here are my recommended do's and don'ts for this time of year. I recommend you do consider major purchases and investments for these eclipse season. If you've been thinking about a new car or a major investment of some kind, this could be a good time to explore those options, especially if they are aligning with your transformed financial strategy. I also recommend you upgrade your technology. It's a great eclipse season to invest in new laptops, new phones, new technology in general that can improve your daily communication or your work efficiency. I also recommend you open up in therapy. I recommend you go to therapy, or if you're already in therapy, open up about deeper issues. It's a very powerful eclipse season for breakthroughs with your mental health and emotional health. The don'ts. I recommend you don't ignore any financial red flags at this point. Be vigilant. Be vigilant about any warning signs in your financial situation and address them head on during eclipse season. I also recommend you do not neglect your car or whatever your mode of transport is. If you rely on a vehicle or a specific mode of transportation daily, do not ignore its maintenance during eclipse season, or don't ignore your need for an upgrade during eclipse season. This is a crucial time for ensuring smooth daily routines. So this moves us to November. And this is when Pluto will re-enter Aquarius for the final time. This is November 19th, and Pluto will be making its third visit into your 7th house. So by this point, you're getting the hang of what these big relationship shifts or what this Pluto is doing for you. The first time was back in March 2023 and again January 2024. And now here we are in November. So let's talk about what we might see by the end of 2024. More relationship tweaks. Yes, more changes on the horizon with your partners, with your relationship dynamics, your one-on-one interactions. Maybe things are getting deeper, or you're both just figuring out how to better vibe together, or you're realizing a certain way that you interact with people is outdated and you are moving on from codependent ways, for example. And if you are all about that committed partnership life, get ready for new levels of understanding when Pluto enters your 7th house. It's like unlocking a new stage of a video game. And for those of you in the biz world, your work relationships might see a serious revamp at the end of November. Think new ways of learning, or maybe just new faces coming in. Business relationships getting a makeover of some kind. And for those of you who are hitched, this is a time where you are evolving together more. It could be like you're working through some more challenging stuff, or you're just finding new ways to appreciate each other. Some sort of marriage check-in. And again, meeting new people, of course, is possible too. And this kind of brings me to the do's and don'ts. I'm going to start with the do's. Go ahead, make it official. If you're thinking about making any big commitments, this is a good time to dive in, whether it's popping the question or signing some sort of business deal or just going steady. Going steady. I live with my grandma, can you tell? But go for relationship things. That is the do. The don't is a bit of a caution. If you see any red flags with these new relationships, if something feels off, don't just let it slide. Tackle those issues head on and make sure you're not too involved with any control freaks. Watch out for any control issues from your side or your partner's side. It's all about mutual respect and space and interdependence. So This round of Pluto in your 7th house is the final polish on those relationship changes that you've been working on. And this moves us to December. So December 6th is when Mars stations retrograde at 6 degrees Leo. And so it will be stationing retrograde in your 1st house, which is kind of a big deal because it's all about you, your identity, how you present yourself, and your general well-being, your general goals and objectives in life. So you might find yourself in December rethinking how you want to be seen. Maybe a style change, cutting your hair, dyeing your hair, updating your look, getting a bunch of new clothes, donating a bunch of old clothes. There may be some sort of health focus also with the retrograde in your 1st house. Mars brings inflammation, so be aware of inflammation coming up, which could be autoimmune stuff. It could be rashes. Mars also rules sharp things, so just be extra careful of, scissors and knives. As it stations retrograde at the beginning of December, be cautious. Know that you are accident prone at that point. You could also be questioning who you are and what you're standing for in general. It's deep stuff, but important. And projects and goals that you've been pushing forward might hit a pause or a slowdown in the beginning of December, which is an opportunity to reconsider your approach. It's not slowing you down to piss you off. It's asking you to reconsider your approach. And you might also be, more nostalgic at this point, thinking about past decisions and the impact on your life now. So here are my recommendations, do's and don'ts for December. The beginning of December specifically. I recommend you do stand up for yourself because this is a key time to just assert, stand firm in issues that are important to you. This is also a good time to cut out toxic influences. If there are any people or situations that are negatively affecting you in the beginning of December, consider cutting them out. Use Mars to cut them out. I also recommend you do change your look. If you want to experiment with your appearance, a new hairstyle, a new wardrobe update could be refreshing for December. The don'ts. I recommend you don't overlook your health. Pay attention to your physical and your mental health. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Mars here will make you a bit more impatient as well. So don't forget to breathe. Remember to take breaks. It's essential to manage stress and inflammation while Mars is retrograde in your 1st house. And so overall, it's going to be all about you. It'll be asking you to take time to understand yourself better and to make sure you're on a path that you want to be on. And lastly, Act 2 of Jupiter squaring Saturn, most of the month of December, but it exacts on Christmas Eve, December 24th, of course. So you saw this happen for the first time in August, and now it will be coming back for a second round in December. And this is, again, how you are balancing your bustling social life with more serious stuff, like your finances or some sort of emotional baggage. There may be some sort of social life versus wallet dilemma. And this may feel like deja vu from August. You may be making waves in social circles, but your bank account might be giving you the side eye. It's a dance between having fun and keeping an eye on your budget at the end of December. Perfect time for the holidays. And as you are ramping up that social game, don't be surprised if some personal issues need your attention. Like one minute you're going to be planning a group hangout and the next you're dealing with some sort of emotional curveball that was unexpected. And you're widening your network with Jupiter in your 11th, which is awesome, but be cautious about mixing friendship with finances with this square. It's really great to help out a friend, but make sure it's not straining your wallet, or don't be surprised if you don't get paid back right away. So recommended do's and don'ts for this time of year, for December. I recommend you do talk about money when you're making plans, whether it is a community project or a night out. Have a chat about the budget if you need to. Keep things clear and comfy for everybody. Don't overextend yourself. I also recommend you do choose your friends wisely at this point. Spend time with people who get you and support your personal journey, not just party animals or not just people who are using you. Pay attention to that. The don'ts. I recommend you do not brush off your feelings in December. Amid all this social buzz, take time to check in with yourself. Mars retrograde will be forcing that anyway. It's important to not lose track of your needs and your feelings so that it doesn't come out in some other part of your life. And I recommend you don't blow the whole budget you have on fun. It's tempting to splurge in December, especially when you're out with friends. Just keep an eye on how many drinks you're buying. No one wants that oh no moment when they check their bank account after they bought the whole bar a round of beer. So don't be doing that in December. So the second round of Jupiter squaring Saturn is most likely more of a reality check amidst social adventures. So keeping a balance between fun times and real world responsibility, especially where it hits your emotions and your finances. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you can enjoy your social life without losing sight of the deeper stuff. So that's what we have, y'all. How do you feel about the upcoming year? Drop a comment and tell me which transits you're looking forward to or which transits you're side-eyeing and you're not looking forward to. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to help support the community. And if you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pisces Fellowship offers personalized weekly and monthly horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations, either readings or mentorships. And of course, you're welcome to join the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astral conversation flowing. Thanks so much for being here, friends. I'll see you on the other side.